Welcome back to the deep dive. We're here again, ready to unpack something complex, fascinating, and really insightful, all drawn from some great sources we've gathered.
Great to be here.
Today, we're taking a journey, a deep dive into Morocco, a place known for its, well, incredible human tapestry.
It really is something else.
And our mission today, we want to figure out why. Why is Morocco seen as one of the most visually diverse nations in Africa? We'll explore how its unique geography, its deep layered history, and all these different cultural influences didn't create one single look, but, this amazing spectrum of features. It sort of defies easy labels.
Exactly. No single definition fits.
We've got some compelling research, historical accounts too, that paint a really vivid picture. And get this, here's something powerful that kind of frames our whole discussion today.
Okay.
Scientists have actually found that Morocco holds more genetic variation within its own borders than you find in many entire countries.
That's an astounding fact, really. It underscores just how much of a crossroads it's been.
Absolutely, a genetic crossroads on a massive scale. So when you think Morocco, what comes to mind? Our sources really stress that the faces you see, they're not just faces.
No, there's stories.
Stories of deserts, mountains, ancient conquests, trade routes, stretching all the way from Europe deep into sub-Saharan Africa. It's all there.
It's written right there.
So let's paint a picture. Imagine you're stepping right into the Medina of Marrakech, that vibrant, almost overwhelming sensory experience.
Definitely overwhelming in a good way.
Our research describes this instant variety you'd notice. You might see a shopkeeper, maybe olive-toned skin, striking green eyes, haggling over spices.
Right, a classic image.
But then right next to him, maybe a young guy, deep brown skin, really tightly coiled hair, moving fast through the alleys with a cart.
Yeah, completely different look side by side.
Or maybe you'd see a Berber woman, perhaps from the high Atlas Mountains. Almond-shaped eyes, strong features, wavy hair.
Very distinct presence.
Then shift gears. Go to a coastal city like Casablanca, more modern. There you might find people with lighter complexions, sharper noses perhaps. It really echoes that Mediterranean legacy.
You see that Mediterranean influence quite clearly on the coast.
It's just an immediate, visible kaleidoscope of people.
And what's so fascinating about that scene you just painted is how it instantly forces you to grapple with Morocco's geography. It literally sits right there at the intersection.
Africa, Europe, the Middle East.
Precisely. And that's not just, a point on a map. It's fundamental. It's a core reason for the incredible genetic mixing you see right across the population.
So the geography itself is a driver.
A huge driver. Historians, geneticists, they all point to this. This strategic position has been shaping the people physically, culturally, for literally thousands of years. It's history written onto their bodies.
Okay, so we've got this vivid street-level impression of diversity. But what fascinates me is moving beyond anecdote. What does the actual data say? The science.
Good question.
How do studies quantify these differences and help us really understand this spectrum?
Right, and the data really does back it up, reinforcing that point about the huge genetic variation. Let's start with eye color. It's often surprising for people.
Okay.
Research shows Morocco has one of the highest rates of light eyes, green, hazel, blue, in all of Africa.
Yeah.
We're talking maybe 20 to 25% of the population.
Wow, that high in Africa.
Yeah, significant. And it's especially noticeable in places like the Rif and the Atlas Mountains.
Yeah.
Areas with really strong indigenous Berber ancestry.
Right, mountain regions.
Compare that to sub-Saharan Africa, where brown eyes are, overwhelmingly dominant, over 90% typically. The contrast is stark.
Definitely.
Now, of course, let's be clear. Dark brown is still the most common eye color for most Moroccans, maybe 70–75%.
Okay, still the majority.
But that significant chunk with lighter eyes, it tells a genetic story. A 2017 study actually pinpointed that the alleles, the genes for lighter eyes, they entered North Africa through prehistoric gene flow, and later Mediterranean gene flow too.
So it's traceable history, not just random.
Exactly, it's lineage.
Okay, so eye color shows these interesting regional patterns. What about skin tone? You mentioned the term gradient earlier. Is it like that?
It absolutely is a gradient. And it reflects both ancestry and, interestingly, environmental adaptation.
How so?
Well, in the north and along the coast, you tend to see more olive and lighter brown skin tones. That reflects that mix of ancient Berber and Mediterranean ancestry we talked about.
Okay.
Then you head inland into the Atlas Mountains. Medium brown complexions become more common, and you see interesting variations there, too, partly because of centuries of relative isolation intermarriage within communities.
Right, isolation plays a role.
Definitely. Then travel further south toward the Sahara, you distinctly see darker brown, even ebony tones appearing more frequently.
And that's linked to?
That's unequivocally linked to sub-Saharan African influence, a direct legacy of those centuries of trans-Saharan trade and migration. It's very clear.
Is there scientific proof for this gradient?
Yes, actually. Dermatological surveys, back in 2018, I believe, they found measurable differences in melanin levels between northern and southern Moroccans. And they tied it directly to both genetics and the different environmental factors like sun exposure.
Fascinating. So it's genes and environment working together.
Precisely.
Okay. Eyes, skin. What about hair? Does hair texture and color add another layer to this story?
It absolutely does. It's another piece of the genetic puzzle. You'll find, for instance, wavy and straight hair textures are pretty common among Berber groups, especially northern and mountain communities.
Yes, sure.
Often pointing to deeper North African and perhaps even some European genetic links from way back. But then you see curly and tightly coiled hair much more frequently among Arabized populations and those in the Saharan regions.
Reflecting different origins again.
Exactly. Reflecting different historical migrations, particularly from the Middle East and, importantly, from sub-Saharan Africa.
And color. Is it mostly dark?
Overwhelmingly black, yes. But our sources show about 10 to 15% of Moroccans naturally have brown or even auburn hair. Again, particularly noticeable in some mountain regions.
And blonde. I've heard it exists, but is rare.
It is rare, but it does occur. Mostly noted in the Rif and maybe the Middle Atlas areas. It just underscores, again, these complex, multi-directional connections Morocco's had throughout its history.
It's just layer upon layer. So beyond color and texture, what about things like body types, facial structures? Do they fit this pattern too?
They certainly do. They offer more concrete examples of that genetic variation. Anthropological data gives us averages, men around 173 centimeters, women 162 centimeters.
So about 5'8" mirrors for men, 5'4" fills for women.
Roughly, yes. But those are just national averages. They hide significant regional differences.
Like what?
Well, some Berber groups in the Atlas, for example, tend to be a bit taller, maybe leaner builds. Possibly adaptations to life in challenging mountain terrain.
Makes sense.
Then Arabized groups in the plains often show more medium builds, average stature. And down in the Sahara, groups there are often characterized by leaner physiques, longer limbs. Again, likely adaptations to hot, dry environments.
So environment shapes build too.
Environment and ancestry, absolutely. It's clearly both influencing body type and facial structures. This is where the diversity is perhaps most visually striking for many people.
How so?
Well, Berbers, the Amazi people, often have distinct features like high cheekbones, almond-shaped eyes, typically straight or wavy hair, features reflecting those ancient North African roots.
Okay.
Arabized Moroccans, they often show a real blend. You might see sharper, more defined Mediterranean-type profiles mixed with slightly broader features. It's a testament to both Middle Eastern and indigenous mixing.
A real fusion.
Definitely. Then in Saharan communities, you more commonly see features like fuller lips, maybe broader noses, along with the deeper skin tones we mentioned, hallmarks of that rich African heritage.
And the cities, coastal areas.
Yeah, in urban coastal places, you often find very blended features, reflecting centuries of trade, plus interaction, sometimes intermarriage, with Spanish, French, Portuguese settlers over time.
It's an incredible mix.
It is. And this mix, understandably, it sparks conversation, sometimes controversy even, about what a typical Moroccan actually looks like.
Right. Is there a typical?
Well, some might argue the Berber mountain face is the defining look. Others strongly contend that the Saharan blend, the African features, are just as authentic, just as central to Morocco's identity.
So different perspectives on authenticity.
Exactly. And the real truth, as our sources reveal, is that it's both.
Yeah.
And it's much, much more than just those two.
Which brings us to the history. If the people embody this blend, how did it happen? What are the key historical layers that created this?
That's the crucial backstory. It's a narrative stretching back millennia. We can kind of map it out chronologically.
Okay, let's trace it.
It all starts with the Berber roots. We're talking over 10,000 years ago. The indigenous Amazi people. They aren't just one influence. They are the fundamental genetic foundation.
The bedrock.
Absolutely. Then, think first millennium BCE. You have the Phoenicians and Carthaginians arriving, setting up trade, bringing significant Mediterranean genetic traits into the coastal areas particularly.
Okay, early Mediterranean input.
Followed by the Romans. From about 146 BCE up to the 5th century CE, They brought soldiers, settlers, adding another layer of European elements.
Roman influence, too.
Then a huge shift in the 7th century, the Arab conquests. This introduced substantial Middle Eastern genes, yes, but also critically reshaped culture and language through Islam. A massive transformation.
Culturally and genetically significant.
Hugely. Then from the 8th right through to the 16th centuries, you have the trans-Saharan trade really flourishing. This becomes a major channel for sub-Saharan African genetic influence moving north, especially into southern Morocco.
So significant African gene flow from the south.
Very significant. And then more recently, 19th, 20th centuries, French and Spanish colonization. Genetically less impactful than earlier waves, but it did add a small, visible European admixture, mostly concentrated in the cities.
A more recent, smaller layer.
Exactly. So if you connect all that history to the genetics, studies estimate modern Moroccans carry this complex blend. Roughly, maybe 60–70% Berber North African ancestry.
The largest component.
Yes. Then maybe 10–20% Middle Eastern, and another 10–15% Sub-Saharan African. Plus those minor European traces. It's an extraordinary mosaic.
Wow. So those numbers really quantify the mix.
They do. These aren't just footnotes in history books. They are literally the living genetic blueprint of the nation today.
So given this incredibly layered history, this visible diversity, it makes sense it would lead to discussions, maybe even tensions, around identity, both inside Morocco and how the world sees it.
It really does. It's a sensitive area, naturally. Internally, you find these ongoing, sometimes quite vigorous debates about what represents the true or authentic Moroccan.
How does that play out?
Well, some voices, perhaps reflecting parts of the Berber community, might emphasize the lighter-skinned, maybe green-eyed Berber look as representing that ancient continuity, the original identity.
Right, emphasizing the deep roots.
While others, especially maybe from the south, will powerfully argue that Morocco's Saharan populations, with their darker skin and strong sub-Saharan links, are equally, if not more, representative of the country's deep African heritage.
Two strong, different claims to authenticity.
Exactly. Yeah. And our sources suggest this tension, while not always outright conflict, can sometimes feed into political or cultural divides. You might see Berber activists pushing for more recognition of Amazi heritage, while perhaps some Arab nationalist perspectives might emphasize the Middle Eastern and Arab connections more strongly.
Important to note, we're just reporting these viewpoints from the sources, not taking sides.
Absolutely. Just outlining the spectrum of perspectives that exist within Morocco itself.
So if that's the internal conversation, how do outsiders often get it wrong? How is this complexity misinterpreted globally?
That happens a lot. It often misses the whole point of Morocco being a crossroads. Some outsiders, maybe influenced by limited media, might just label Moroccans as looking European.
An oversimplification.
Totally. Or others might just broadly say African, again, ignoring the huge diversity within that. Both views, our sources show, really miss the incredibly nuanced blended reality that is Moroccan identity.
They miss the fusion.
Exactly.
But okay, despite these internal debates, these external misunderstandings, our research also really highlights that appearance is deeply tied to pride for Moroccans. It sounds like quite an emotional connection.
Oh, it absolutely is. A powerful emotional connection. For example, many Berbers celebrate their distinct features as living proof of that ancient heritage, that connection stretching back thousands of years. It's identity.
A source of pride and continuity.
Definitely. And Saharan communities, just as passionately, cherish their deep African roots. Their appearance is a testament to those enduring connections southwards.
Pride in African heritage.
And then coastal Moroccans might highlight their global heritage, shaped by all that trade, the interactions with different European and Mediterranean cultures, pride in being a crossroads.
So pride manifests in different ways depending on heritage.
Exactly. Now, we should also acknowledge the downside. Sources do report that, unfortunately, stereotypes can persist, especially maybe in some urban areas. Sometimes lighter skin or European features might be subtly seen as more prestigious, while darker features might, in certain contexts, face some stigma. It's not perfect.
That's an important nuance.
It is. But, and this is really powerful, broader national surveys consistently show something important. Over 80% of Moroccans see their multi-ethnic background not as a witness or a problem, but overwhelmingly as a key national strength.
Wow, over 80%. That's a strong statement of unity and diversity.
It really is.
So let's bring it all home. What makes Morocco's people look so diverse? We started with that incredible fact. Scientists finding more genetic variation within Morocco than in many entire countries.
Yeah, it's staggering. And it really points to the core reason. It's that deep layering. Ancient Berber roots mix profoundly with Mediterranean, Arab, and sub-Saharan African influences,
All shaped by.
all profoundly shaped by that unique bridge-like geography and just millennia of constant historical interaction, migration, trade, conquest. It's this nonstop interplay that created this unique genetic landscape.
A living testament to human movement and mixing.
Couldn't have said it better.
From those resilient mountain Berbers to the distinct Sahrawis in the desert, those Saharan groups, from the olive-skinned folks with Mediterranean ties to those with darker sub-Saharan heritage. Morocco really embodies this living fusion. Africa, Europe, the Middle East, all meeting there.
It truly does.
It's quite a story of humanity itself, played out in one country. So here's something to think about, a question for you, our listener. Maybe mull this over after we finish. Should Morocco's identity really be defined by hunting for one typical look? Or is its greatest, most defining strength the very fact that it proudly has no single face, but instead embraces having many?
A powerful thought to end on.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into Morocco's incredible, complex, and beautiful visual tapestry.